All right, so warm up lesson number 3. What we're going to do today is work the fret hand. And this is week 1 of a series of drills that actually takes 1 year to complete. And so we're going to go through the procedure real fast, as well as some fret hand tips and what to look for when you're warming up your fingers. So the first thing we're going to do is week 1, exercise number 1. And that's with fingers 1 and 2 of the fret hand. So we're going to start on the low E string, and when you go to put your first and second fingers down, just kind of like hold them down on the frets without playing them, and check out where your thumb is. So my thumb is behind where my first and second finger are. I try to stretch these out and then put my thumb back here flat on the neck. So a couple things to avoid would be the thumb going too far over this way near the head of the guitar, as well as too far up over the neck. Now this technique with the thumb over, we're going to use that in different situations later on, but for right now, for basically the scale technique of the fingers, we want to try to keep that thumb back. All right. So when we're warming up the fingers, you want to first get a good tone from the note. And I call it the sweet spot of the fret, which is right behind the fret wire. So you don't want to be like in the middle or towards the end over here, because there's so much tension on the string, it's hard to press it down, and it has a kind of a buzz sound like that. So sometimes if your finger exercises or your scales are not successful, it could just be because your finger is too far towards the head of the guitar. You want it to be towards the body of the guitar. So you're going to go right next to the fret, not on top of the fret, but right next to it. And that's the sweet spot. It's where the best tone is, and it's the easiest to press it down. So you want to get a good sound out of the first finger. And the exercise looks like this. And so on across the string. So we're walking fingers 1 and 2. So when you put your second finger down, you want to try to leave the first finger down just for a moment there, so that you can feel that stretch between the 2 fingers. So you're going to play 1, get a good sound out of that, and then 2. So you have these 2 fingers down on the strings. Then you're going to move to the next string, the A string. 1, 2. Next string. 1, 2. Next. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And all the while I'm trying to keep my thumb in the back and my fingers separated. So when you get to this part of the guitar, and I would do this, you can pause the video now and practice not this fast, but slowly, all the way to the high E string, just a few times to get the sound and the technique. Then what we're going to do, once you get to this high E string, is you're going to take your entire hand position and shift it up a fret to the second fret. So your fingers are now on frets 2 and 3. Now, what you want to look out for is to make sure that you brought your thumb with you. Sometimes what happens is people will go from 1, 2, and then when they switch to frets 2 and 3, their thumb stays back where it is, and their fingers move, and now they're out of balance. So you want to make sure that when you shift over, you shift your whole arm over, your whole arm position. And we keep the finger pattern the same. 1, 2, 1, 2, walking this way. And then when we reach the low E string, we shift it over again to the 3rd fret. And again, remember to bring your arm and your thumb with you. And then one more to the 4th fret. So that's the drill. And as far as the pick is concerned, I would prefer it if you did rest strokes for every note with the pick. If you're still struggling to get the left hand position, just don't worry about the pick right now. Just use a free stroke or whichever one is easier for you. Once you get this down, though, enough to the point where you can play along with the recording of the drill, which we're going to do next, I would prefer that you use the rest stroke just to really hone in that skill so that when we get to power chords and other techniques, then it's ready to go. So let's try this at 92 beats per minute, and one note gets a beat. Let's try it out. Okay, so the next exercise in week 1 is fingers 1 and 3, your ring finger. So what you want to do is, let's go back to the low E string, first fret, and put down your first finger. And then you're going to reach to your third finger on the third fret, the ring finger. Again, shooting for that sweet spot right next to the fret wire. All right, now something to watch out for is to make sure that there's a nice space between your first and second fingers. Sometimes what happens is the second finger will go over and help the first finger press down the note. Or your hand position might be sideways and these first two fingers are touching. What that's going to do is it's going to set yourself up at a disadvantage for later techniques, and then you're going to have to break that habit, and that's really tough to do. So let's just make sure that you get that down right now, which is, again, making sure the thumb is flat behind where in between the first and second fingers. And when you go to play your third finger, just be aware of that second finger. Make sure there's a nice space in there. All right. So we're going to practice walking 1 and 3 across the neck. So this drill sounds like this. Then what you do is you're going to shift your hand position to the second fret so that you're on the second and fourth fret, just like we did before, and walk that way. So that's finger exercise 1-3. Let's try it at 92 beats per minute. Okay, so the last exercise we're going to do here is 1-4. So put your first finger on the low E string, first fret, and then you're going to reach for your fourth finger on the fourth fret. Some of you might have trouble doing that and maintaining, again, the hand position with the first and second fingers separated. So if you're having trouble reaching that fret, let's kind of flip the process here. And what I want you to do is take your hand away from the guitar and then put just the fourth finger down. Don't worry about the first finger. So put just 4 down, find that sweet spot right next to that fret wire, and then hold that down. And then I want you to reach back for the first finger. So you open up the hand and reach back for the first finger. You're going to notice that separates all these fingers here. And again, if your wrist and your hand are up like this, you're not going to be able to reach, these two fingers. So you have your fourth finger here, you reach back for the first finger, and that sets up your hand position, nice and open fingers. Then what you do is just a little bit, lift that pinky off so you can play 1-4. All right, so that's the process. If you're having trouble reaching the fourth finger, put the fourth finger down first, reach back, set up your hand position, and then go ahead and try 1-4, 1-4, and so on. You want to maintain that hand position all the way, and then again, shifting to the second fret, and then the third fret, and so on. So let's try that at 92 beats per minute. Okay, so that's week 1 finger exercises. And what I want you to do is practice those 3 drills every day for 7 days, and then you can move on to the next one. In a later video, I'll give you a breakdown of how to do these drills in variations for 1 year. So you'll have daily drills for an entire year with this setup of a warm-up. It's a very valuable thing to do, and you know, it gets your, not only gets your hands warmed up, but it works on so many different left-hand techniques, and also reinforcing the rest stroke with the pick. All right, so we're going to do one other video right after this on stretching the left hand out if you're still having problems reaching the 3rd finger or the 4th finger, or if your 1st and 2nd fingers are still stuck together. We're going to do a quick stretch video to help you out, and then you can come back to this and redo it and see if it improves your hand position opening up. And we'll see you then.